most important decisions you will make regarding your workstation is what chair do you use. And I would like you to keep one thing in mind when you choose a chair, and that is what chair is going to help you avoid the C curve. Now we've talked about this in other videos, but just to give you just a brief description of what we're talking about. This is the spine of the human body, and it was designed to be the strongest when it's in this position, and that is, by the way, this would be where the head is. This is your pelvis, and these are the legs which are cut off, of course. But it was designed to be the strongest, basically, with a slight curve in, a curve out, and another curve in at the bottom here. Basically, if you think about your back being straight, that's what position it's going to be in. The C position is when you actually curve the spine into a C position. This is very harmful, and we've spent a great amount of time and instruction on why that is so. But right now, just keep in mind, you want to avoid this C position. So to help you do that, you want to have a chair that's either fitting you perfectly or that is adjustable. I want you to keep in mind that one place where it's very hard to stay out of the C position is when your chair is very low. So if I go down like this, and I guess this can almost simulate if you ever sat in bleachers. You know how hard it is to keep your back straight, and also you may notice how after a bit of time your back becomes very sore. You know, you're watching your kids in those games, and what happens is you start doing this, and you're rounding your back out. If I want to even make it worse, make it look even lower, I put my foot up here, and you can see how I'm really just starting to round out. So that's one of the first things you want to look for in a chair, is that you can adjust it up to the point where I'd like to see that your hips are either, you know, level with your knees or slightly higher. Now I can tell you from personal preference, I actually like it when my hips are quite a bit higher than my knees. Now the problem with that is, if you sit that way for a while, the edge of the chair can start cutting into your thighs. But I'd almost prefer that because I really like the high chair and how it makes it very easy for me to sit up straight. So that's the first characteristic you want to look for, is a chair that has adjustable height. The second one we're going to look for is a chair with a firm back. The firm back is going to allow you to support your back in the way it should be to maintain the curve. Okay, in choosing a support for your back while you're sitting at your office station, what you are trying to keep in mind is that you are trying to maintain that straight posture, which really is, again, a curve in, a curve out, and a curve in. So we're trying to maintain the hollow in your back, that arch in your back. And there's a number of ways of doing it. Now this chair actually isn't too bad because it has room for my butt to go back. Okay? And just by sitting here, actually, it's giving me a little support, and it's got a little bit of lumbar support, as some people refer to it as. It gives me a little bit of arch in there. If you want to get an idea yourself of how it feels to have support in your back, you can just take your arm and put it back here, and sit that way for a while, and say to yourself or ask yourself, does it actually feel better when I sit like this? Does the added support help me feel better? And if it doesn't, then maybe it's something that it's not for you. The amount of support that you use there may depend on if you're having back pain at the time. What we have found is that many of our patients, when they are in the throes of back pain, they actually like to have more support. And again, or a way to test that would to actually maybe take a rolled up towel, and if you want to try more, you can roll up a larger towel, stick it in the low back, and see how it feels. Again, the patient who's in pain often likes to overcorrect, almost have too much arch, as opposed to the person who's not in pain, and they might want something thinner. Now, where do you put this? You can put it around the belt line, but this is really, again, based on preference. Some people like it above the belt line, where they really kind of help form that arch. A lot of people I have found like it at the belt line, or even a little lower, over what we call the sacrum. And they like it right there, and they just love how that locks them in place. So that's going to be up to you. Again, you can use a thicker towel, or you can use a thinner one. We often provide our patients with this thin support, which they use in their car or they can use in their office station. And again, that fits right well over the sacrum. Doesn't look like much, but it actually does provide some decent support. There is hundreds of products on the market that look like this, or they look square, or all sorts of shapes, but they all are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to provide some support in the low back while you're working.